What's up? And welcome back to Opposites Chat Podcast. This is Sonja Ramirez, your girl, and I'm sitting next to
Miguel Ramirez.
What's up, everybody? How was your day?
How was your week?
How was your life?
Going.
Woo! It is January.
It is.
The beginning of a new year.
This is the second podcast,
crazy?
right?
Yes, it is. But 2022.
Yeah.
I was looking at my Facebook stories. You know how they share with you like memories that happened in 2015 or like, you know, tell you 4 years ago, whatever. And it's so cool to go back and to read where we were years ago.
Yeah.
And today there was one that pulled up in 2014 where I'm sharing how I am working on me, like every aspect of me, whether it's marriage, parenting.
What year was that?
Finances, 2014.
We've been at it for a while.
We've been debt free since 2013. But the thing of it is that it took us so long to finally make the decision that enough is enough, because in years before 2013, we made those decisions to become debt free, but we have always fallen back in the trap of using credit cards until 2013 when we decided enough was enough. And I remember we put it out on Facebook for the world to see, because to us, that was accountability.
And the first thing we paid off was the credit cards. And then we started working, after we knocked out the credit cards, then we started working on the cars.
Right.
Or the car.
Yes.
It was just one car. And then I remember specifically like the mailbox.
Mm-hmm.
It was on the way to work. There was a mailbox right there on 67th Avenue, I think. It's not even there anymore.
Yeah. In Arizona. But
it's not even there anymore because the construction's all tore it down. But I remember taking a picture at the mailbox, dropping that last check.
And you sent that to me, and then I put it out there for the world. And to me, because I feel that it is for me to let down others, or kind of, you know, it's just having that accountability.
Yeah.
Because before we tried it and we didn't succeed. But then when enough is enough, right? In 2013, we decided no more. And since then, we have been debt free.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, so many people, when they set out a goal and they fall back, and then they retry, they fall back, they retry, they fall back. And eventually they just give up instead of just giving into it.
Yeah.
You know, and I think with us, it was making the decision, but also thinking back to the things that we were taught, the things that we were told, like, you know,
being mindful and realizing.
Yes, like money is the root of all evil, right? For me. Yeah, that's something that I remember. Right.
That's something that we had to learn.
But you don't realize that. You don't recognize that. And it's like when you want more, there's a time where you just feel like you're selfish. You know, like, is this something that you just start to feel selfish? It's almost like when women start to recognize that in order to take care of others, they must take care of themselves first.
Yeah.
It's that selfish, that feeling that you get when you put yourself first.
Yeah.
That starts to, you know, come about when you're thinking about, oh, well, I want this, I want that.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And there's no reason why you shouldn't have those things. You know, it's just a different mindset. You know, it's crazy. Like, we were like in the past, that was something that we always heard. Like you said, that money is the root of all evil. And honestly, in Legal Shield is where we learned to like switch that mindset.
Right.
But I mean, I think we've always kind of, like you said, like, what was it, 2013?
Mm-hmm.
We've been working on this stuff for a long time.
Yes.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, I didn't realize like how far back
it goes.
Right.
Babe,
and I think it's even before that.
Babe, that's how we met. We were working on ourselves when we've been doing this for a long time.
And that what you and I met in 2006, but we didn't start.
But we were already introduced to like getting better and personal development and like really understanding that it's not up to anybody else.
That's right.
It's not up to anybody else. Like, if you want to do it, you can't blame anybody. It's on you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you have to learn the things that you need to learn to be successful.
And unlearn the things
right.
that you have to unlearn
Right.
that you were taught growing up.
And nobody can do it for you. You have to do it for yourself. You know, and that's just kind of, we learned that way back then. And it's just been constant, just little by little, constant progression.
Because it's like
towards
habits. Like habits are so hard to break, right? Being able just to swipe a card. It's so easy just to swipe a card.
You see,
but when you realize, like, who was that gentleman? I've been drinking. This is my second glass of wine.
I've been drinking.
I had a brain fart. Who's the first gentleman that we were watching?
I'm gonna fucking cut that out. That's just gonna be a new fucking sound. I've been drinking. That's gonna be a new sound effect.
Shut up, babe. Okay, but so who was the first gentleman that we started listening to? This is so bad that I can't think of his name right now. That got us out of debt.
Dave Ramsey.
Dave Ramsey. That's so bad. I couldn't remember his name. And he talks about, you know, how to get yourself out of debt. And, you know, he is the one that we first started listening to, and we use some of his concepts in order to get us out of debt.
Real quick, I mean, just so you guys know, one of his concepts is the debt snowball, and we use that to get out of debt. We didn't do the budget, and we didn't do a lot of the other things because it's different for us. We have businesses, and it's not just a job. If you have just a couple of, like, if you're a couple and you have just regular jobs and regular investments and things like that, then maybe you can follow exactly his program. But because we have businesses and we can, that's one thing that's been great throughout our career, I guess, or our relationship or our finances, is that we've always
we got
had
a pussy over here. I mean, a
ability-
kitty.
yeah, the pussy cat. We always had that ability to make more money.
Yes.
It's not like our job limited us on the money that we could make.
Right.
It was like, hey, if we need more money, then we need to focus our efforts on whatever's making us money at that time. And it was different things throughout the years.
Yes.
You know, some years it was Legal Shield. Some years it was never really selling tutus or any of that stuff. It was just extra,
that was a lot of, that was good extra money.
and then it turned into, you know, the notary
hats,
business and all that other stuff. So we've always had a way to like make more money when we needed it.
Yes.
But
we there's times where we had a job.
Yeah.
And then we had a plan B, right?
2 jobs, 3 jobs.
That was providing the extra income to pay off the bills, but also to stash cash.
Yep. And so the debt snowball, for those of you guys out there, is you take all the debt that you have and you line it up. You know, if you have 2 or 3 credit cards, you put all the credit cards there. If you have a couple cars that you have loans on, whatever you have debt on, you list it from the most amount of debt to the lowest amount of debt. And then you start with the lowest amount of debt first, and you start knocking those out. So if you have a credit card that's like $500-$700, knock that out first, because that gives you your first win.
Yes, and then you start to feel.
Then you're excited.
You know,
You only have 4 credit
Yes.
cards or 3 credit cards that you have to pay. And then the next one is $1,000. You work on that, knock it out. Now you have 3.
Yes.
And it's just, it builds momentum, and you take all that extra money that you used to put down. So like the first credit card, maybe that was like a $40 a month payment.
Right.
Now you take all the money that you used to put on that towards the next one.
Yes.
And then towards the next one. And before you know it, you're knocking out big ass chunks of debt.
Yes.
And then at the end, you knock it all out. And that's the thing, is that reminds me so much of this thing in Legal Shield that we learned. So for those of you, I'm not going to get like super into it because this isn't, you know, what this podcast is about. But Legal Shield was a network marketing company, right? And it had different levels in the company. And I remember like the goal always was to get to executive director.
Yes.
Like that's the goal that everybody had. Because when you get to executive director, you're making some money.
Right.
It's not like life-changing money, but you're
could be.
you're making money.
Yes.
But then I remember hearing somebody that was successful in the company saying that just getting to executive director,
That's the beginning.
that's the starting line of the marathon. And it's not a race. It's a marathon. It's, you know, all you have to do is complete the marathon. Some people will finish it faster than you. Some people will get there after you. You just gotta get there.
Yep. Stay in your lane.
Executive director is the starting line. And like, to think that everybody was focused on this thing, but not knowing that when you get to that, that's when your business actually starts.
Right.
And debt, to me, like I saw a similar thing. Like all the debt, once you finally get out of debt, that's when your financial future actually starts.
Yes.
Like for real. Because that's when your credit is going up.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you have nothing that you're really spending your extra money on. And now you can start looking at other things that you want to do. And you can start stacking
to
cash.
make your money work for you.
You can start stacking that
Now, this
savings.
is the thing, though. During this entire process, there are beliefs that you have to break.
Yeah,
Like,
that you have to undo.
Undo, yes. And so it's almost like
Even to
and
this
you have
day.
to recognize. No, yes. And you have to recognize
What are you doing over
those.
there? Bouncing up and down. Watch the podcast. No.
Shut up. Like those are beliefs that you have to break in order to move forward.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that you have to correct and things that you have to undo. And so while you're going along this journey of becoming debt free, you have to also work on yourself.
Yeah. Yep.
And not only that, but you and I, when we met, we were already working on that, as you stated, like our mindset and working on ourselves. That when we came together, it wasn't that difficult because you will meet people within the business or whatever that they're married, but they have different, they think different. They're on a different path. And in order for this to work, I feel that both have to be in this together. Like if I was not focused on becoming debt free and you were, that would have been a problem.
Well, what you're saying,
if I was not working on me mentally and breaking those family curses, those generational curses of, money is the root of all evil and money, doesn't grow on trees and this
and you're
and
not
this
even
and
getting
that.
paid for that.
Right. Like it, in order for it
they should
to
be
work,
paying you. They should be paying you. We used to hear that shit all the time.
Yeah.
When you're starting a business, when you're working for yourself, a lot of times in the beginning, you're fucking working for free. And when you're talking to fucking broke people, you know what they'll tell you? They should be paying you. Why are you doing all that? And it's like, you don't understand the owner mentality.
See, but it's just because they don't know any better.
Yeah.
Like seriously, they just don't know any different.
And to me, it's like, fucking thank you for the experience, for allowing me to fucking learn. Because this is going to help me get better. And I'm going to earn way more than whatever the fuck I would have charged for something stupid like whatever we were learning. Let me give an example. So I remember listening to this show. It was the Adam Carolla show. When he first got started, he used to do these little bits or whatever. Like he met a guy that was already in radio and kind of worked his way in just from hustling. Like for real, he went down to the headquarters, the offices, and just waited outside until he met somebody, talked to them, and kind of worked his way in. And just with his personality and the personalities that he had that he wanted to put out there on the radio, he started doing it. And when he would go back to his friends, they're like, what do you, like, let's go get drunk or let's go party. And he's like, well, I got to work on this thing.
Yes.
And they're like, well, how much are you making for that thing? And he's like, well, maybe they were paying him $25 per skit or some shit, but you're on the radio.
Right.
And they're like, $25 for you to be on the radio? Like, they should be paying you way more than that.
Right.
But those are his fucking broke friends telling him that shit.
Right.
And he's like, dude, I just got my foot in the door. I'm not worried about the $25.
Right.
I'm trying to get some reps in. I'm trying to learn this thing.
Right.
You know what it's just a different mindset.
Right. Yeah. And those are things that you learn on the way.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, there's tons of stuff that I'm doing that I'm not getting paid for, but I will get paid for it eventually.
It's the work that you need to put in in order
the podcast,
for it
the
to
business,
happen. You're
everything.
going to do things
Everything
at times
that we've
for
done.
free, or you're going to spend money in order to make money, right?
Yep.
You hear that a lot. Before Trust Inc., we were, making the logo. We had to buy the cards. We had to, pay for the website. I had to go out and pull some doors. I had to go out there and network. I had to buy some people coffee. There's things that I had to
buy a
do.
$500 printer.
Yeah,
had to go buy paper.
in order,
before you ever got your first penny.
Any of it. Yes. And those are the things that you just have to do. But when you're first starting out, you don't understand those things.
This is the thing, is that if the company is providing you the flyers, if they're providing you the business
That's
cards.
if you're he's talking about networking.
Well, no, I'm just saying,
a multi-level company.
No.
Maybe,
I'm just saying, if you have a problem with spending the money to get your business going, it's just like I said, it's a different mindset. I've seen it so many times, like you said, kind of like in the business that we were in network marketing. Like we used to recruit people, and they would have to pay to join the business. And people are like, well, how come? Like, if you're going to be selling this stuff, why do you have to pay to get involved? Mm-hmm. And how come you have to pay for your business cards and you have to pay for all this other stuff? And it's like, well, because you are a business owner, and business owners, they don't get supplied stuff. They have to buy stuff to put out. Mm-hmm. Now, if you go to a place where they actually provide the printers and they provide the business cards and they provide the brochures and they do all that stuff, guess what's another thing they provide? A W-2. Because you are an employee. You are not the owner, and there's only so much money you're going to make. When you're the owner, you have to put the money in, you have to put the risk in, but your limit, your ceiling is limitless.
Right.
It's up to you. You know, so sometimes people don't know. It's just a different way to look at things. You know, an employee and an owner.
Right. There's a book by Robert Kiyosaki. Right?
Yeah, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That, you know, if you are looking to
change your mindset,
that's a great book.
That's a great book. And it's an easy book to read. Mm-hmm. It's probably one of the first books that you should read to kind of change your mindset from, you know, just, and the thing is that there's nothing wrong. There's nothing bad about it. It's just something different.
Yeah. And this is the thing, like if you love what it is that you do, like you love being a nurse, you love being a doctor, like you are in, you know, you're walking the path, you're fulfilling your purpose, then that's where you're supposed to be. Like and that's the thing, it's just being true to yourself. You know, this morning I woke up and there's, you know, something that I've been feeling, you know, like that God's been turning me to, and it's something that I've been kind of, you know, fighting, but I know where I'm supposed to be. I know that that's where I'm supposed to be, that I know that that's my walk, you know, and I just got to do it. You know, I just got to jump in. And I was listening to one of her podcast, Castillo. She is a transitional coach, you
like
know,
a life coach type thing.
Yeah. And, you know, she's known all over the world, but she talks about fear and how we allow fear to stop us from fulfilling our purpose, and it will stop us in our tracks. And so many of us will allow that fear to disable us from fulfilling what it is that we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And she's like, imagine if fear didn't exist. You know, like, what would you do if you weren't scared of failure or scared to succeed? What would you be doing right now?
Damn. That's
right?
crazy. Yeah.
If failure wasn't an option. And she's like, once you embrace fear, that's when life will begin. Once you accept,
that's when you get to the starting line.
Once you accept failure.
Yeah.
Because she's like, the people that win are the ones that fail the most.
And the ones that
because
act
they
in spite
learn.
Of fear.
Yes, because they learn what they need to learn.
Yep.
In order to get to where they want to be. But those that play it safe will be the ones that die with so much regret. Yeah. And it's like you have to be more fearful of regret than fear itself. And I just made that shit up myself because just listening to her, but it's true. Like if you embrace it, like, okay, whatever, this is what I want to do. And if I failed the first time, that's okay. Like if I don't get the results that I want.
Change your fears. Be afraid of regret when you get older.
And that's the thing, is that what I'm training myself to do is think of those things. Like if I were to die today, what would I regret?
Yeah.
And the one thing, like I asked myself this morning, I woke up and I was feeling uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I was feeling uncomfortable. And I realized that it was because I have stepped away a little bit from my spirituality, like meditating, fasting. Because when I fast, I feel that I connect to a deeper self. I connect
how
to
is that?
God.
Like fasting, like not eating.
Not eating.
How is that?
Because there's a calming sensation that comes with fasting where everything seems to slow down and you are one with yourself.
That's because you don't have any energy.
Whatever.
I'm just kidding.
Whatever it is.
You're not eating. You're just like, ugh.
I get
No.
deeper into meditation, and I connect to a deeper self, myself. Do you see what I'm saying? And a lot of times the kids are at school and you're at work.
Yeah.
So I'm able to take the time to connect to God, with God, and having that relationship, that close relationship with him. And normally if I'm not in it, like if I feel distant, it's because I haven't had those moments with him, those conversations with him. I haven't been journaling like I normally journal. And I felt uneasy this morning when I woke up, and I'm sure you've seen the journal on the bed, and I'm doing my devotionals, and I feel this weight. And I know that when I'm feeling this weight, there's something that needs to be said. There's a message that he needs to relay that I'm not picking up on because I'm not listening.
You're not in that frame of mind. You got to you got to get yourself there.
Right.
Right.
You know, so with me, I know that in order for me to feel whole, I have to continue on my spiritual my path, because I know that my purpose is within that realm. Like I feel it. And my coaching, it has to do with that as well.
Well, I'm going to work on Monday and the kids are going to school.
Great.
So you get some time to yourself to go in that closet.
Yes, because
I'm telling you, when we get that next house,
time.
we're going to build you a fucking spiritual room.
A fucking spiritual room.
And a fucking podcast room. It's going to be a podcast studio and a spiritual room.
See, but I wouldn't be able to recognize these things if I didn't practice being mindful, if I didn't practice my spirituality, if I didn't practice meditating, if I didn't practice being present, because I can feel, even as soon as I woke up, I felt uneasy. There was something that I need to do that I haven't been doing, and I knew exactly what it was.
What was it? The meditation? Is that what it is?
It was
what is it?
It was having my quiet time with God. That time that I normally have with him, you got to refocus yourself with him. Yes, because that's where all my answers are. Like I know without a doubt that once I connect and once I start tuning in to a deeper self, that all the answers that I've been looking for are there.
Yeah. Yes.
It's so cool.
I think, you were talking about waking up this morning and you had that feeling. And this morning I woke up and it was one of the, like a lot of mornings on the weekends or whatever. Like I'll wake up and the house is still asleep and I get up and I'll go do some stuff. And this morning I woke up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get up. And there's a bunch of stuff that I need to research for the podcast, for some investments that we're making and just different things. And it's a lot. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to get started. We got to take down some of the Christmas stuff, like the last of it. So I'm going to get busy with that. So I get up and I get out, and Audrey had just woken up. Mm-hmm. And I see her. I'm like, hey, what's up, girlfriend? I say good morning or whatever. And I walk downstairs. I mean, I'm talking about literally within minutes of waking up. And I'm getting started. I fire up the computer, and I see Audrey, and she's coming downstairs, and she looks like she's on her way to do something, but she just woke up, like literally also, like minutes. Mm-hmm. And she's getting ready to go start working on her homework. Mm-hmm. And I asked her, I was like, what are you doing? I don't know if she had grabbed her backpack or whatever, because we were downstairs and she was going back upstairs. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm going to work on my homework. And I'm like, the boys are asleep. Your mom's asleep. It's a Saturday. I was like, first thing in the morning, you're going to work on your homework? And I told her, I was like, I would have never done that as a kid. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's good. I was like, that's really good. I was like, I'm super proud of you. And it was one of those moments that just made me feel good as a parent.
She's
you know,
great. Yes.
I mean, shit. That's like, it's just crazy. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. Crazy to me for a kid
Right.
like me to fucking wake up on a Saturday and do homework.
gotta do
There's so
homework.
much other shit that I would rather do besides homework
See,
on a
but
Saturday morning.
That made you feel good because
Yeah.
we have. Sorry, it's like vibrating. It's gonna be excited. No, it's part of what we've created.
Yeah.
You know, it's part of what we created. And when you see the kids doing things, doing well, and
It's awesome.
it feels good because you know that we are doing something right.
Yeah. I can't wait to see Joey grabbing his shit Saturday morning. I don't know if that's going to happen. They're different kids.
But it's all work, whether it's finance, whether it's marriage. Like, even though like our marriage is solid, like we love each other so much more today, even when we said I do. Like, I loved you then, but I love you more today. And it's because of not only the time invested, but it's the things that we have learned, the things that we have undid, right?
And learn together.
And learn together. And it just feels so good to know that we are doing the best that we can.
Yeah.
No matter whether it's parenting, marriage, finances,
All of it. We're working on
all of it, you know. And that's the thing, that the one thing that we have not, that we slip up a lot on, is our health.
Yeah.
But that's where we are so comfortable, and it's something that we're so busy. And this isn't an excuse. I'm just being very real, because I know a lot of you probably fall back on this as well. But this has been a struggle for us. Like, everything else is going well.
Maybe.
Like, everything is going well. And when everything is going well for us, we're happy. And food makes us even happier.
It's time to celebrate.
Right? But it's something that we have to get control of, because it determines like our health and how long we're going to live, how long we're going to be on this earth. And in order to have a balance, it's something that we have to get control of. And it's something that we know that we can control.
Yeah, and we do well at it too when we get
decide,
on it.
Right, when we make a decision. But I think when
It's
it
been a
comes
while.
to health, yes. But when it comes to health, it's so important,
Yeah.
because it plays out how our morning begins and how we feel throughout the day. And our kids can see.
I mean, just
they
like
see it, they feel it, and we're also building that path, or
the example.
for them.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to have health issues. So in order for them to not have health issues, it starts with us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's okay to have 2 scoops of ice cream. But it's being able to have that self-discipline and control to be able to have those 2 scoops, but still work out.
Yeah. I was just telling you recently, like, I mean, there's like these games that we can play with ourselves so that we can like move forward. Like, kind of like the food. Like, one thing that I was telling you was, if I eat like shit at night, then I know it makes it so much harder for me to wake up in the morning and work out.
Yes, that's so true.
Like I could fucking roll out of bed and go to work, but it's hard to wake up and roll out of bed and start fucking running,
right?
Or start doing push-ups and pull-ups and stuff.
Right.
So the game is, if I want to get healthier, one thing that we have to start is just not eating like shit at night.
Right.
And then that will help us be at least, because I'm still not motivated to wake up and go to and work out, but at least I don't feel like shit.
Right.
And then it's like, all right, let's get up and do it. And then once, like you said, the habits, the routines, you start doing it, and then, you know, it's a thing.
But it's funny because we got control for the most part of everything
else.
Yeah. Yes, right? I mean, we're starting now, we've been debt free. Now it's like, okay, let's start building, right?
Yeah.
Got some real estate, what's next? Let's start building our finances. Let's start so that we can retire you in 3 years, right? So we're focused on that. Our marriage as well. Our parenting as well. Like everything looks good.
Yeah.
Except our weight.
Yeah.
But the thing of it is when I look in the mirror, I still see sexy and you still funny. Make me feel sexy. So it's like, well, I'm still sexy. You know what I'm saying?
What were you saying the other day? You were saying something like about me being like I'm fucking mean to myself or something. I'll be talking. I talk shit.
Yes.
But it's fun. Like I say it in a funny way. Even to myself, like I'll be talking shit, you fat motherfucker, you know?
Yes.
But anyway.
I was telling you to be kind to yourself.
Yeah. You're like, you need to be kind. I'm like, whatever.
But it's okay. Like we know it.
I know what it is.
Like we know it.
I'm not bullshitting myself.
We know what it is, right? Like we both know where we need to get better at. And the thing of it is that when we both decide, then we both decide. But when we decide, we need to really decide, not just be like, maybe on Monday. And the thing of it is that now Audrey is like, she hasn't gained any weight, but she wants to get fit. Like she wants to start working out. And so, she's been asking about it. And this is the thing. I will let myself down, but I will not let her down.
Yeah.
So her being like, hey, Mom, let's go to the gym Monday at 5:30. And if she wakes me up at 5:30, then I will wake up. But if she doesn't wake me up, then I will sleep in.
Yeah. I'll help you guys.
But it's just I think that we have to make the decision together as a family, because I know with you and Joey that you will not want to let Joey down. I feel that, just focusing on, and not only that, but
any of us down,
the truth is, and I know this because I'm connected to my body. And when my body is achy, my body gives me the signs that I need in order to say, it tells me when enough is enough.
Yeah.
Right? You know that. Like I tell you, like, this is sugar. I know that it's not a good thing. And I know that it causes cancer and it causes every other
inflammation.
All of it. I know that it's linked to all of that.
When you eat like shit, like your joints are fucking popping.
You feel sore, you feel stiff, just all of it. Yeah. All of it. Not only that, like we've been doing very well, with our, what do you want to call it? Bedroom exercise?
Yeah, well, we do that pretty regularly.
Like we've been doing well in that. But a lot of times when you don't feel good about yourself, with us, it doesn't
matter. We fucking throw down.
But there's times I have more energy when I am at the gym. When I'm at the gym, you can't keep up with me. Like I'm more, right?
Shit now. We'll see what happens. I'm going to start doing some pull-ups and burpees and shit.
But I'm just saying that's my truth. Like I know that when I'm, working out and I'm feeling good, and I'm sure for a lot of women out there, because when you feel good, it's just, it shows in every aspect. I asked you for a glass of wine. You took me a bottle of wine, and after my first glass of wine, I'm feeling myself, and I'm like, I need to take a selfie.
Speaking of which,
sexy.
We need to get a freaking sponsor. This is the first time that we brought the wine out to the podcast, and you drink this shit. You drink this shit all the time.
Yes.
Cooper and Thief.
Yep, that's the shit.
Like
ladies, if you like red wine, yep.
They age it in like whiskey barrels or something like that. Mm-hmm. It's good. Well, Sonja likes it a lot.
I love it. Yes,
maybe there'll be a sponsor.
For reals, we gotta
throw it in the universe.
Throw it out there. But I was just thinking, like I was reading, some of the Facebook posts, and there was a post back in 2015, and it talked about getting a glass jar. And every time we step out of our comfort zone, or every time we do something great, we put it in this jar. And at the end of the year, we read what it is that we've done. And I was thinking that, and so I'm like, I already have one that I could put in the jar. And, Audrey's been in softball, and you can see that the team is divided. And there's no way to have success when a team is divided.
Yeah.
And so I decided to give the coach a call, and I asked her if I could go speak to the girls. I said, because I can work on their mindset, working together, coming together, supporting each other, motivating each
That's a big
other,
part.
all of it, right?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't know much. I don't know anything really about softball.
Baseball,
So you can
softball,
do
any
your
of that?
thing. I will work on their mindset, and you can work on whatever else that. And so she's like, well, let me reach out to some people and see if, they're okay with it. Anyways, I got the text. She said, you're on Tuesday, and I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that because the girls have a lot of potential, but you can see that there's a division within the team.
They got to work together.
So I'm like, well, that's something I could put in, the jar.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, definitely.
Just starting the coaching, like reaching out, to Castillo and seeing what's next with that.
Yeah. That'll be good.
Yeah.
And it'll be your first exposure this year to be speaking in front of people and kind of getting back in that swing of things.
I'm excited about that.
I think that'll be good.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, like you were talking about our health and the finances and all the stuff that we got going on. And recently, I mean, it's almost been like this has been our first week back to some kind of normalcy after the break. But not really. Because we still had our daughter, our oldest daughter, my daughter from my ex, visiting us, and she went back home this week. So now it's kind of like, all right, well, I'm going back into the office. The kids are going to school. You're getting back on, to your work with Trust Inc. and the signings and all that. And it's time to like really start focusing on this next year, getting the health back in line, getting the business, coming in on a regular basis, working on the podcast, working on all this other stuff that we have going on. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this next year that we have coming up.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that we're looking into, and I feel that it's time for something different. I feel that it's time for a change, like a good change.
Yeah. Well, something different, kind of like what you were talking about earlier, like the mindset that we had and how we had to change that mindset. And the mindset doesn't stop changing. It still continues to change for certain things. And it's crazy because like we're sitting here talking about, like in the beginning of the podcast, we're talking about debt and finances and how your first step to financial freedom is getting out of debt.
It's making a decision.
This is the thing. Like I'm thinking about this right now. Our mindset right now is changing about debt, right? Before it was like, under no circumstances are we going to accumulate any type of debt. It doesn't matter.
Right.
Like, and especially for a car, I would never do that. Well, maybe not so much. Maybe there are different ways to do things, but it's your mindset has to change, and you have to be open enough to change your mindset.
Right.
So
to use other people's money. And you hear that with people that now are living the life that they've been wanting to live. It was like getting out of debt, and then once they get to a certain point in their life, now it's like, okay, using other people's money. I'm like, what? Using other people's money? Isn't that getting back in debt? Like and there's a risk involved.
But when your mindset starts shifting, you start seeing it, and you're like, oh, I can make an extra $1,500 like for free, like for straight up free. Like I'm not even, I didn't put my money down. I used their money, and their money is paying for this, and it gives me some extra money.
And we're talking about Turo, by the way.
Well, buying car, like maybe renting cars or an Airbnb or something like that.
Right. Yes.
But there's ways where you can use other people's money, but you have to get into debt for it. But guess what? Getting out of debt before and staying out of debt before has got our credit to a place where we can take advantage now of using other people's money to make more money.
Right.
It's different. Like if there's something that we want, we're not just like gonna go out and just spend crazy money on something. We want to look for ways to buy something that's gonna pay for something else. Right. And that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, is the first step to get your mind on that track.
Right.
And if you guys would like to pick up Rich Dad, Poor Dad, you guys can do that through Amazon. And if you're going to buy anything through Amazon and you want to help out our show, you guys can go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. You guys can click on the support the show tab. If you're on your phone, you can hit the menu button and you'll see the support the show tab. And when you click on that, it'll take you to our Amazon link. Anything that you purchase through that link doesn't cost you anything extra, but it helps out the show. And anytime that you're on Amazon, if you want to check out any of our merch, you can search Opposites Attract Podcast and you can find some of our t-shirts, pop sockets for your phone so that it can hold it up and you can get a good grip on your phone. You can find the pop sockets with our logo on Amazon. And you can also, when you click on that Support the Show tab, you'll find a link to Trust Inc. And Trust Inc. is?
We are a nationwide mobile notary agency and signing agency. So if you are in the process of purchasing, selling, or refinancing your home, you can request Trust Inc. to be your signing agency.
And you can go to Trust Inc. directly by going to trustinkusa.com. And we're also affiliates with Pinwheel, which is the best smartphone for kids that's available. It doesn't have any social media, doesn't have access to the internet where they can get on to all the things that they're not supposed to be looking at and the things that are dangerous for kids. But it does have a call log, text log that parents can see. There's apps that are appropriate for kids that make the phone a tool for kids to make them more productive. They have calendars. They have music tutorial things on there. They have things to teach them about money. Different languages like Duolingo. All the apps that are in this app store are picked by therapists, by parents, by counselors that put the kid's best interest in mind. And if you guys would like 10% off of a Pinwheel phone, you can use promo code OAPTEN on pinwheel.com, and that'll give you 10% off of a Pinwheel phone.
Drink. You're going to take a sip of your beer?
And if you guys would like to keep my mouth from getting dry and buy us a coffee or buy us a beer, you guys can go to buymeacoffee.com, right, babe?
Yes. And did we give a shout out
to Ian and Kelly?
Yes,
we did. We gave them a shout out for buying us a coffee. If you guys would like to buy us a coffee, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. And a huge shout out to Bill, Ian, and Kelly for buying us a coffee on buyusacoffee.com/oppositepod.
There you go.
So thank you guys.
Yes. So let's see. I was reflecting on and I think it's important. I was journaling down the things that we did last year and the things that we focused on becoming better at. And one we had talked about this was parenting.
Yeah.
And things that we have focused on. And, with Adriana and, just some of the things that she's going through as a preteen. A lot of times, us parents, we forget what it feels like or what it felt like to be a preteen or a teenager.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't understand why they act or say the things that they do until you start to take a step back or you become mindful of what it is that they're going through, the challenges that they're going through, the growth that they're going through, puberty. Like, it's so hard when you think back.
Yeah.
Do you remember any of, just the feelings or the emotion that you were going through as a preteen or as a teenager?
It's tough. It's tough to remember some of that stuff. I remember some things, but not a lot.
And in the book Untangled, she talks about that because those are things that we don't want to remember.
Yeah, maybe.
So you just don't remember. So then you become an adult with a preteen or a teenager, and it's like, what the hell happened to you? Like, overnight, you became a monster.
Yeah.
And we start to, go at it in a way that instead of bringing the kids closer to us, it builds that a distant, or I don't know, it just builds distance between you and your child because you're not understanding them and they're not understanding why you don't understand them.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking back of everything, all the experiences, the learning experience, the books, the audios that we've been reading and listening to understand what she's going through. And not only that, but she's not even a teenager yet. But once she gets there, we will be empowered because we put the time into trying to understand what she's going through. And so many parents it's not even a thought to pick up a book or to listen to an audio.
Or to try to learn what's going on.
Or try to understand.
Yeah.
what they're going through. And a lot of times it just breaks my heart because there's a huge disconnect
Yeah.
between a parent and their child because of that.
Yeah.
And if we just take the time to try to understand and to learn, to read something new, to get us to where, you know, where we understand where they're coming from, that relationship will enhance.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, the only thing that we have to go by is our relationship that we have with our daughters, right?
Yeah.
Because you put what you read into action
It stays.
and you start to see the fruit.
I think it's kind of like what we've talked about it on the podcast before. It's like the things that you focus on. I mean, the things that you
It's
focus
so
on
true.
are the
We'll
things that
grow.
you focus on.
Yes.
You know, like
Yes.
if you're focused on parenting and you're reading the parenting books and you're applying the knowledge that you're learning from these books and you're constantly looking stuff up and that's what you're focused on, then you're going to be successful at that. You're going to have good results
Right.
at that.
But it's also too having someone that you can talk to about what it is that you're going through.
Yeah.
And I know as a woman that sometimes we take things personal. Like if our children aren't going, I don't know, if they are distancing themselves or we're having trouble at home, we take it personal. And then there's a feeling of shame and embarrassment that happens within that we don't feel comfortable enough talking to others about what we're going through in our home because we feel that it will reflect on us. And a lot of times it does reflect on us, but
You know
it's
what?
like breaking free from that shame and that embarrassment and taking responsibility for our shortcomings or whatever it may be, but being vulnerable and strong enough to share what is actually happening within the home to give other women or other parents the okay to share what they're going through.
Yeah.
Do you
You know what?
understand?
And it's hard enough for a kid that is going through things like you were saying, things that they're ashamed of, things that they're embarrassed about, that they don't want to talk about. It's already hard enough for them to talk about these things. Every kid's going to go through them, and it's
Right.
hard enough to talk about them. But I can't imagine, I just imagine that it would be so much harder if your parents are out of touch.
Right.
Like if they're not even paying attention
Ugh.
and you're going through these things, it's going to be so much harder to try to connect to your parents when they're not paying attention.
Right.
Like it's hard enough for us, and we do pay attention. Like I'm thinking about like myself right now with Audrey in this past year that we've had, or the past couple of years, or her going through the changes of puberty and her brain development and all these things. Like she's always been close to you. There's been a time where there was like a wedge or there was like some distance between me and her, but it was because of learning all these things and working on this stuff and
Yes.
just continuing to be there and putting the effort in that I feel now. Like if she's going through something, I'd be like, hey, what's up, girlfriend? Like what's going on? Like,
Yes.
you know what? And I feel now that she may still not talk to me about what's going on. And she will talk. She most likely will talk to you about it when you guys are in private. And that's the other thing, is that being in private, when you guys are you two together, you guys can talk about that stuff. But when it's all of us together, she's definitely probably not going to want to talk about any of it. But with me, as long as she has somebody to talk to, they're going to be okay.
Right.
You know? And now I feel like it's finally getting to the point where now she has you all the time. And me sometimes, depending on the situation, she can talk to me about certain things.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yes.
But with Joey, I feel the same way. Like, hey, what's up and what's going on? And I feel like he would
Yes.
tell us what's going on.
Yes. And this is the thing. It's so important to check in with your children.
Yeah.
Check in with them. Hey, how was your day? How are you feeling? Like if you see that they're off, it's like, taking a
a
time out for
question.
what it is that you're doing and check in with them.
How was your day?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, what's going on?
Yeah.
And if they don't answer you right away, it's just like sit there with them. Sometimes they just need a hug.
Yeah. And ask them if you want them, if they want you to leave them alone for a little while. I do that every once in a while. Like when I talk to Audrey, I do that all the time. Like if I see that she's in a mood or something like I'll ask her, like, hey, what's up, girlfriend? Like, what's going on? Like, I see you're mopey or, you know, it seems like something's up. And sometimes she'll just kind of look at me and shake her head.
Right.
Like that's a sign to me, like, don't push any further.
Right.
And it's like, all right, girlfriend, like, hey, if you want to talk, let me know. You can talk to your mom too. You know,
right.
But it's okay.
And to what I'm learning
and I give her a
and
hug
what I get.
And I give her a kiss on the
right.
forehead. And it's like, all right, you know, don't worry about it. Don't
and
feel
this
bad.
is okay. We are not here to take those feelings away from them. Like, it's okay for them to be sad. It's okay for them to be angry. It's okay for them to be upset. Like, all these feelings are okay. Our job is to help them to deal with what it is that they're feeling, not make them feel bad that they are upset or angry or sad. Those are all good emotions, but it's getting them to recognize the emotions, getting them to realize why they're feeling the way they're feeling and sitting in it and being okay with it. Okay, now what can we do? Now that you understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling and you've been sitting in it for a bit, now what can we do?
Yeah.
To release, to let go of what it is that you're feeling.
Yeah.
But not make them feel guilty about being pissed off, not making them feel guilty about being sad. Like, it's not okay to be sad. It's not
like,
okay to be angry.
You?
Like, it's not okay. The only way, you know, the only feeling or emotion that is okay is happiness or joyfulness or peace. No, it's getting them to recognize what they're feeling, to sit in it, to ask them some questions, to get them to recognize why they're feeling the way they're feeling, and then to help them come up with a strategy or a way to release what it is that they're feeling.
Yeah.
And with adults as well. Like, when you're feeling like today, I was feeling a bit off. I recognized it. I sat with it. I didn't try to, you know, change what it is that I was feeling, right? Because most people will do that. They'll be like, oh, I'm going to have a beer. That might help me feel better. Or, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to exit. I'm going to watch a movie so that I don't have to think about what it is that I'm thinking about. It's sitting in it and feeling okay with what it is that you're feeling and trying to understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling. And then what are you going to do about it? Like, how are you going to release it? For me today, when I was feeling off, like there was something that I feel that I needed to do. I feel like there was something missing today, something that I was supposed to be doing. And then I sat with it.
Yeah.
I sat with it. And then I recognized that it was me being disconnected from my spirituality. I haven't had a conversation with God in a long time. I haven't sat in stillness in a long time.
Yeah.
And the whole coaching thing, it's like you need to get on it. I had that feeling like you need to get on it. You got to look into it. You just got to start listening to what you've been listening. And so then I started listening to the podcast. I started listening to Castillo's podcast. I started to do my daily devotionals. I started to journal. I started to talk to God. I started to get myself back on the path.
And that slowly starts changing your mindset.
Yes. And then I started to feel better. Like, okay, I know what it is that I need to do, because not only do you have to check in on your kids and your spouse, but you also have to check in with you on a daily basis.
Yeah.
You know, because if you're feeling sad, your inner God is talking to you. If you're feeling lonely or depressed or anxious or stressed or whatever it is, your inner God is trying to tell you that something needs to be done.
Yeah.
Or you need to focus on.
You got to do something different.
You need to do something. You need to listen to what it is that it's trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And most people, when they start to feel that way, they run from it. Instead of running to it, they run from it. When running to it will give you the answers that you need.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's You just gotta get busy.
And as adults, it's hard to slow down, to pay attention, to listen, to do. But those are things that we also have to teach our kids. And the younger they are, they start to recognize if you're teaching them these things and talking to them about what you're feeling and what you're doing, and they'll start to see it. Like Adriana went into the room and she saw me journaling. She saw me with my daily devotional. She was reading my journal.
Maybe we should have a conversation with the kids. Just like we have all kinds of conversations with them. We can talk to them about the holiday break. Mm-hmm. And the beginning of the new year. Mm-hmm. Like the holiday break, I think, is a great time just to all right, it's over. It's over. Like we did this. Like this year. This year is over. Oh. And now's the time to put all the stuff to the side for the most part. I mean, sometimes things happen and you have to focus on what you got to focus on. But for the most part, at the end of the year, it's all right, we're wrapping up the year. Nobody's really working. And if they are, they're making pretend. And but everything kind of slows down and shuts down at the end of the year, and that's great. That's fine. That's what you should do. That take that time to celebrate the last year and to think about what you did in the last year and what you're going to refocus yourself on and what we're getting ready to do for the next year.
Well, that's why.
And talking to the kids,
Do you recall?
But that's
during dinner time?
Yeah,
I was asking the kids.
Yeah.
What do you want? What's something new that you want to learn this year?
Which
that's
is
what
a
that
benefit
was about.
Of having dinner as a family and sitting with the kids.
Yes. But that's why I was asking them that, because I wanted them to think about, last year, what is it that you did good last year? What is something that, you didn't do so well on? But this year, what is it that you want to learn? What's something new that you want to learn this year?
Yeah.
It's getting them to think.
Yep. I think one thing is starting. That's one thing that we've gotten pretty good at. And that's just starting things. Like when you get an idea, when you have a thought, and it's like, okay, well, what's the first step? Mm-hmm. And it's a thing is that once you start the first step, it's like a little snowball. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I mean, I did it today with some of the crypto stuff that we have going on. There's steps to this stuff. Like you got to do this and then do that and then do this and then do that. And sometimes we just look at the information or look at whatever we have going on, and it looks like this huge mountain that we have to climb.
Right.
And it's like, I don't understand anything. I don't even know.
Yes.
You know what? Step number 1, what do you need to do? Oh, there's a website that I need to go to. Just fucking type it in and go to it and see what's on the website. And then, okay, now I'm on the website. Now what do I need to do? And little by little. But if you never take that first step, that first step is the hardest.
Right.
But once you get going, you're going to look back and you're going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe I did all that.
Yep.
Like when I first started, I knew nothing, and look at where we are today.
Yep.
And that can happen pretty quick. Mm-hmm. It's just making that decision that I'm going to take that first step and go for it.
Yes. Yep. How do you eat an elephant?
One bite at a time.
That's it.
Right? And we were kind of talking about that's a mindset that you have to change, right? Mm-hmm. And you guys know we're big Packer fans here on the Opposites Attract podcast. Mm-hmm. And we went to the Packers game and we had a blast with Eddie Lacy. And since then, there's been some things that have happened that we haven't really talked about on the podcast, but I could probably reach over there and grab it. Mm-hmm. But you can probably tell them.
Yeah, so we are now Packer owners.
We became Packers owners like a month ago. We never got the chance to talk about it.
Right?
But the Packers are the only football team in the NFL that you can actually be an owner of. And last time that this happened, this has only happened where they offer Packers stock to the public. All the other 31 teams in the NFL have owners. Like the Patriots are owned by Robert Kraft. The Cowboys are owned by, who is it? No, Jimmy Johnson was the coach, or anyway, whatever. But every team has an owner. But the Packers, you can actually be an owner and buy stock in them. So it's only happened 6 or 7 times in the history of the Packers, and it happened this year. I don't think you can buy it anymore because they're probably all sold out. But we bought a share, which actually makes us Packers owners. We can actually vote on stuff that has to do with the Packers. We can go to the team meetings in Lambeau Field, which we have to do one day. But speaking about that, Packers are number 1 in the NFC,
woo, woo.
on their way to the playoffs with the number 1 spot. But something that's been different this year that I've shown you some of it is the Packers quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. And over the years, he's gotten a lot of shit because he had a huge shoes to fill because the quarterback that he replaced was Brett Favre, which is a Hall of Fame quarterback that won a Super Bowl. Like, that's never easy when you're following up somebody that's a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, and then now people are expecting this from you. And he turns out now to be a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion. But this year, his demeanor and just his whole personality seems to have changed. Don't you think? Like, you've seen, and I've shown you some stuff about Aaron Rodgers. He's like a big old hippie now.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
He's like, man, I love everybody.
I love everybody. Yes.
But it's awesome.
I love it.
It's awesome.
It's so good. And you can tell, like, he's been working on himself.
Yeah.
Like,
Big
he took some time, and he hasn't said exactly like what he did. I mean, he just said he took some time to really time for himself. Yeah. But he didn't, say exactly what it is that he did. But you can tell that he took that time to work on him. Well,
there's a sports show that he does interviews on every week. It's a show that I like a lot, the Pat McAfee Show. If you guys are into football, it's a great show to check out. But he does interviews on that show every week, and he has what's called like the Aaron Rodgers book club. So just to kind of give you guys an idea, The Alchemist was on the book club, which is a book that I think I have in the wish list that I need to pick up because I keep hearing about it. The Four Agreements is the week number 5.
That I've read.
That's a book that we've talked about here on the podcast. The Power of Now is a book that we own that we've also talked about here on the podcast. Outliers is a book that we own that I haven't listened to yet that is in our list. I mean, there's a bunch of books, but there was something that he said during the Pat McAfee Show that I wanted to read for you guys. But he said, when you focus on the things you have versus the things you don't have, you allow yourself to let gratitude sink in.
That's right.
When you focus on the things you don't have, you'll always be unsatisfied.
So true. Living in a state of gratitude has changed my life.
Yeah.
It has, because that has brought me the peace that I feel within and the joy that I feel within. If, God forbid, something were to happen to me today, like, I would go peacefully.
Yeah.
Because of the things, that we've focused on together. But the things that we have, the love and just all of it, I would be okay.
Yep. No,
to live in a state of gratitude, it's something that you have to work on daily. And that's where my prayer and meditation, that's where it all stems from, is gratitude. Like, when I start meditating or I start praying, I sit with what we have today, our family, you, the children, just everything that we've learned, all the challenges and obstacles that we've gone through together, we stuck it out.
Yeah.
We did not give up. We
faced it
head on,
everything
together. And it's made us who we are today. And just sitting in a place of gratitude, that my heart is in such a good place right now.
Yeah. I was telling you sometime throughout the break, and like I said, after this podcast, after this weekend, it's on. It's on again, and I'm excited.
What does that mean?
I'm just saying, like, the refocus. You know what I mean about the next year, about the progress that we're making. It's on again, and I'm excited about it. But throughout the break, it happened several times, and I told you about it, like how we talk about on this podcast that you shouldn't compare your life to what you see on people's social media, because it's not real life.
Right.
And then I started looking at social media, like our social media, and the things that we're posting and the things that were happening. And when I started scrolling through our social media, I was like, damn, this is our real life. Like, it fucking great. Like, this is actually it's like this,
Yeah.
you know? But not to like brag about it, but when I started thinking that, I had like this huge sense of gratitude for like where we were at, kind of like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it's unbelievable, you know? And I'm excited for the future.
Because we've lived in our truth. When you look at our social media, like when I look through the memories, we have always spoken our truth. When we were going through hard times, whether it was marriage, parenting, or inner challenges, especially for me, I had a lot of inner challenges that I was going through. And I remember doing Facebook Lives, speaking my truth. I remember crying.
Yeah.
During Facebook Live, talking about something that I was going through or something that I overcame. Because with my social media, I never wanted people. I refused just to share our wins. Yeah. I wanted to share our challenges and our obstacles because I wanted other people to believe that they too can overcome these challenges and that they're not alone with what they're going through. Like if they're having some challenges within their marriage, I wanted them to know that, yeah, we've gone through some major challenges in our marriage and we have been able to succeed. And we are only where we are today because we never gave up on each other.
Yeah.
And with parenting as well, because parenting is another avenue where you will have challenges throughout the entire
journey.
Yep. Yes. And if we don't share what we're going through, if we're not vulnerable or courageous enough to share what we're going through, then who are we actually helping?
Right.
So I think that being vulnerable and sharing your truth will open different avenues and help others to understand that they're not alone. Because when you're going through a mess, when you're going through, whether your significant other is cheating or you have a child who's ran away or whatever it may be, if you feel you're in it alone, then you are alone.
Yeah.
But when you have others that are sharing, oh, I've been through that. I went through that.
Yeah.
And this is how I came out of it. It helps others to break free from shame and from embarrassment.
Yep. So I think for 2022, I think some things that we can focus on is maybe being more vulnerable, gratitude, and getting better.
Right.
So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for being with us. Make sure you guys go to oppositesattractpodcast.com. Share it with those that you know. Share it with your friends. You guys can follow us there. You can listen to us there. You guys can buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/oppositepod. If you guys would like to give us a call, you can call us at 480-912-5128. You can leave us a message. Let us know what you think about the show. Send us some questions that we can answer on the show.
Yes. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you for your love. And thank you for watching Opposites Attract Podcast, where we get better
together.
Bye.
Bye.